All right, what's up, you guys? It's Patrick, otherwise known as Scotty. I'm here on the food truck. It is Saturday, so it's after I don't want to say debacle of yesterday, but because we had a lot of good things happen, but kind of like this good thing that happened. So we finally have our permit, and yeah, so we're licensed. Not quite out of the woods yet, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I wanted to show you guys something. So let me flip the camera around and I'll show you, we got a new piece. All right, if you remember from yesterday's video, or if you saw yesterday's video, if you haven't, go see it. We finally have everything cleaned. We were inspected, we passed. These fridges are borderline. It kind of sucks because it's really expensive to get these things serviced. They're like right on the border of like 40 degrees. They're supposed to be 40 and lower. So they're right on the border. I don't know if they just need refrigerant or what, but we did get this. Bam. So this actually showed up an hour before my inspection. I couldn't even hook it up. So this is a Motac. We got it from katam.com. We kind of wanted to go with a bigger one, but actually looking at it now, I actually kind of really prefer this versus the bigger one. We're not making too much stuff on a stovetop. A lot of this is for our vegan, so like our shiitake mushroom bulgogi. We don't want to do it on the flat top because there's going to be meat on there, pork, chicken, and beef. And we don't want to contaminate, cross-contaminate with, for a vegetarian. So that's also why we had to get rid of, we're eliminating the shiitake mushroom egg rolls. It's because we only have one deep fryer. Unfortunately, we don't have enough space. There's no hood over on this shelf. If you look, the hood ends. So legally, we can't have anything here, especially with grease. I mean, I could put the rice cooker here, and I would have to drill a hole over there because there is an outlet down there somewhere. So I mean, there is that option. We could use this because there is one more gas hookup behind down there, or I could do one more gas thing. Unfortunately, it comes down to money. So right now, we don't have the money. So right now, we're gonna hold off. Maybe in the future, hopefully, if we do really well, I think I would consider moving that to over there, putting a splash guard on the other side of that fryer so that we don't have grease going onto the rice cooker. And then maybe we put another deep fryer here or move this to over here. But I mean, I got this thing down. So it's got these corner brackets and it can't go forward or backwards. So it's in there. I'm probably gonna zip tie the legs just to be safe. I always like to be a little extra cautious. But yeah, kind of excited about this. The only downfall is I ordered this like a week and a half ago before everything that happened this week. So let me turn the camera around and I'll talk about that a little more in detail. All right, so yesterday actually this whole week was kind of a headache. I actually got home last night kind of late. As after this I had to go to the car dealership, which I'll talk about in a second, and then yeah, it was just, by the time I got home I was done mentally. Like I was ready to pass out. I was so exhausted I almost passed out at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. I was just, my brain was done. So we passed the inspection, but it came at a pretty heavy cost. So if you remember the video that I made when I first got the truck, I was like, man, this truck is kind of dirty. I thought maybe, we'd spend a few hours cleaning it up. It ended up being worse than that. It was filthy, absolutely god-awful filthy. And it got worse every time we moved a piece of equipment to clean. It got worse, absolutely worse. So it all, between the time it cost, or the time it took to repair, because half the equipment isn't working. I don't even know if the deep fryer works. I was told that the deep fryer and the steam table were hooked up, and I told him to hook up the gas for the flat top. He didn't hook up the steam table or the flat top. And then so when we went to hook up the flat top, and we had to flip it around because there's no room. I mean, there's such little room back here. So we had to flip it around. This thing weighs like, oh my Lord, that thing, it's got to weigh like 200 pounds, 300 pounds. It took 3 of us and we were struggling. So we flipped it around, and while we were flipping around, we found so much grease built up around this unit, and it was all on the side. So it was all like here. Let's see if I can do this. So it was here and here. So in here, it's hard to do this with. So the left side was so bad. That ended up taking me almost an hour and a half, 2 hours actually to clean. I ended up scraping it, and it's still not 100%. I just got tired, physically tired from cleaning it. If you remember, the flat top had like a bunch, so it had leftover grease and stuff on it, and then they had like seeds from like wildflowers and stuff like that had flown in somehow. So it took us about an hour and a half to 2 hours to fully scrub the flat top. We scrubbed that thing like 3-4 times. And now, I mean, it's to the point where I would definitely eat off of it. I'm not worried about that at all. It was pretty bad though. And so I still don't know if the steam table works. I could test it out. I just don't feel like it right now. And then I don't know if the deep fryer works. I haven't bought oil for it because we don't have an event for 2 weeks, and I don't want to just have oil just sitting in there. So we have 2 fridges that need to get serviced, and dealing with the owner of the truck that I'm leasing from has been a horrible experience. So I was told that this truck would be ready to go. It would need minimal work. I would just have to do a couple little things, and that would be it. And yet now I've spent 30 hours with my employees, so it's costing me about $300 in labor to have the part-time guys, the food truck guys that are on my team, to help clean this. And then all my time, I spent like 9-10 hours here yesterday. Spent like another, oh, not 9-10 hours yesterday. It was 9-10 hours on Thursday. It was another like 7 hours yesterday, before and after the dealership. And I'm here today. I did some more work, like I installed the stove. I did a couple other things. And the owner is just like he's just made an excuse for everything. Oh, I didn't know that it was that bad. I don't know how he didn't know it was that bad. The stovetop was actually not even in the truck. When I first toured the truck, it was in his garage. So he knew that it was dirty, didn't clean it, and put it back in the truck dirty. And he's like, I didn't know. Like, well, that's a flat out lie. You had to have known, because like you had to touch the side of it and the bottom of it, and it was filthy. So, so we've just been going. So every time, like, I make an argument about, dude, you've cost me so much money. Like, there's broken, like the hot water heater was broken. I paid for the part for that. I had to pay for parts for the flat top because they had a brass nipple. So for those of you guys aren't in the maintenance world, nipples are basically like metal connectors. They're threaded connectors, and you do it for piping. So they had a brass one on here, which I don't know if that's even legal, because with gas you're supposed to use black pipe. So, but the downfall with brass is that it's very soft. So I believe that when they either removed it initially or put it back in, they damaged the nipple, and you couldn't screw on the gas fitting. So I had to replace that, and then the gas hose that he had on, you couldn't even turn the knob to screw it back on. It was locked up, and I think that might be why he didn't hook it up, is because he knew it was broken, and he just figured, oh, Patrick will just go. I'll just make Patrick replace it, which was not in the. Once again, I was told this was going to be in working order. So, and then this fridge back here has been having issues, Sometimes it works, sometimes it gets up to like 40, sometimes 42 degrees, and it takes a while to get back down. Same thing with this one, this fridge right there. That one, sometimes it gets down to like 32, and then sometimes it gets up to like 40, 41. Luckily with the little fridge, it's just a beverage fridge, so it's not a huge deal. It's just gonna have sodas and stuff in there. But this one, I want to have food in. So not like uncooked food. I want to have our cheesecakes in here, like slices of cheesecake. And it has to be at 40 or below. And now I got to pay for that. Apparently the hood wasn't cleaned last year as it should have been. So then now I have to hire a crew, a professional crew to clean that. None of the ANSOL system was recertified. Luckily, it doesn't expire till June 2026. So I have an appointment at like the third week of May to get that serviced. So he didn't service anything. He didn't do anything to this. He literally just put the flat top in and it was like, that's it. I'm done. And now he's arguing with me back and forth. First he was like, what did he say? Oh, he's like, I'm giving, I'm leasing the truck to you at below market value. No, you're not, because I could have gotten a trailer, basically a brand new trailer, food trailer with an ANSOL system for the same price. And I wouldn't have had any of these issues because it was clean, like brand new clean. Like they scrubbed the mess out of it. I would not have spent an addition, it's one thing to say, like, to make that argument is asinine, because you cost me $300 just in labor from my part-time employees, not my labor, because my labor is to fix all this equipment. And if I had to hire somebody, it would have cost me probably at least $500 just in labor for that. Not to mention the overinflated prices for parts. So luckily, I know how to fix stuff. I know how to install gas lines. I know how to replace components. I'm saving a lot of money, but you're talking about probably another $1,000 for all the stuff like that. This fridge wouldn't kick on before. I fixed it. I fixed that. So, and this dude now, so like we've been going back and forth, and like he was like, well, maybe I'll just replace you for the parts. What about my time? What about the hours that I've spent? Not only fixing equipment that he admitted to never checking. He was like, well, I just assumed it was working. He was supposed to give me a working truck. So now he actually just texted me back, and I was like, basically, you've lied, you're a liar, I can't trust you. And he's like, oh, I think we should just move forward from here. Yeah, after you just cost me almost $1,000 between labor, equipment, and time. I had to take off work on Thursday, unpaid. That's over $300. Like what the hell, man? So dealing with that, he's getting super defensive, but it's his fault. He's like, well, the truck is as is. Well, that's not what you told me. You told me that this was going to be in working order, that everything was going to be working, and that he was supposed to hook up he didn't even check the hot water heater. He hooked it up, never checked it, didn't even put Teflon tape on the water connections, which is absolutely stupid. Why you would hook up water lines, a nylon fitting to a brass fitting, and not put Teflon tape? Anybody with even the minute amount of mechanical knowledge, plumbing knowledge, knows you should put Teflon tape on almost everything that's for water or gas. That's just how it is. Like, or plumber's putty, or they call it pipe dope, whatever. So I've been dealing with that. So losing, it's well over $800 at this point. Actually, now it's a little bit more. So we're getting closer to $900. So let's just round up to $1,000, because I'm sure I'm shorting myself somewhere. And then I go to the dealership afterwards. So I knew that we passed. Okay, so I met with the health inspector. It actually wasn't that long, but he had known me. I knew him. There was also that issue with the county or the city clerk. He knew about it because he got approached by them, and he was like, I got involved in that fiasco. And he was like, she was in the, and he didn't necessarily say she was in the wrong, but he was like, it wasn't her place because it wasn't her department. So she was, once again, trying to do something that wasn't her role. And I think that's why like she stopped responding, because I was like, dude, you're out of control. You need to stop. So she hasn't responded since, especially when I threatened to report her to the state, because I could report her, I should report her. I'm still debating about that, because what she did was illegal. It's unethical. So, you know, I have that, but it got back to him, and I just told him, I'm like, you know what? I was like, ever since that whole fiasco, I have made it a point to contact every single town and city that I plan on doing stuff in, and making sure that I have all of the approvals. So if I have to get permits, tell me what permit to get. Luckily, most of the places that I'm with or that I'm doing stuff in, it's either an event, so I'm covered through the event, or the county that I'm in doesn't require an additional permit. My permit that I have, you know, this blue one, this one right here, that one is a state permit. So I can go, legally I can go anywhere in the state with an asterisk. I can go anywhere in the state but if a city or a jurisdiction has additional permits that are required, I have to get those additional permits or inspections. But there are places like South Milwaukee that don't need, Racine County, I don't need additional permits. That one permit, because it was $835, that covers me for the year till next June. June 2027, it'll cover me. I can go to South Milwaukee, I can go to Racine County, and I could set up on the street. As long as I'm not impeding traffic, as long as the customers are not impeding traffic, I'm not putting them in danger, I can sell. So technically, I could start selling today. However, I still have the issue with the wrap on the truck. It still has that gigantic wrap. And so I have to pay for that. It's $2,000, but I'm gonna have to talk to her, because now having to spend this extra, you know, losing out on basically $900 to $1,000, I now have to see if we can do the wrap in stages. So maybe just do the two sides to start, and then do the front and back. I have to talk to the car wrap place. It's really embarrassing having to ask people like, hey, can you do me a favor, or can we break this down into multiple jobs, so that because I can't afford it, because I keep getting screwed at every corner. So that's the last big, well, that's not the last big hurdle. I have $1,000 bill for the kitchen, which I think I'm gonna get it altered, because we're not planning on doing anything this next week. We're not doing any events, we're not doing any cooking, we're not doing any prepping, we're not doing anything. So I'm gonna ask to see if they can lower that. I still owe half of the security deposit. I can pay for the other half of the monthly parking. I'm gonna see if they can work with me and give me till the end of the month to pay the rest. I hate doing this, but when I tell you I got royally screwed between this and the dealership. So those are the hurdles for the food truck. I basically need, I'm supposed to get a reimbursement for a grant. I'm supposed to get $1,500. That would cover most of the food truck wrap, but then that leaves me nothing for needing the food and supplies for our first events. We have two events, 25th and 26th. Right now, I don't have the money. I had, like I said, I sold the stove and the deep fryer to help pay for that, to have money set aside, and now it's all gone. And then on the personal side, I had the car issue, so which I'll talk about in a second. So yeah, I'm kind of really stuck. I don't know what to do, because I started a new job on Monday, so I quit my job today. That's the other news. And it's funny how the toxic employers are always shocked when employees leave after they've been treated like garbage. I just thought it was funny. I walked in and they're like, hey, what are you doing here? And I'm dressed in a sweatshirt and jeans. and they've never seen me in sweatshirt and jeans. They're like, oh, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm just turning in my keys and taking my toolbox. And they're like, you're quitting? Yeah. Why wouldn't I quit? So the last thing that they did to screw me over, on top of the $3,000 that I've lost because they lied about my benefits, and are withholding my benefits, is that I was told that if I worked on Good Friday, because that was our recognized Easter for work, that we would get paid double time plus holiday. Guess who didn't get paid double time? Yeah, this guy. So just another feather in their cap of lies and deceit. I mean, everybody showed up on Friday because we were told we would get double time. And I don't know if I'm the only one that didn't get it or not. I will never really know because I no longer work there. I quit, turned all my keys in. I don't have numbers to anybody else. So now I got to take that on a legal step. And then the car. So I was told that I was approved for this Cadillac SUV, and I wasn't interested in the Cadillac because it's a Cadillac. I don't care. I don't want a flashy car. I'm not a flashy car guy. I'm not a sports car guy. I don't care. I want something that's practical. It works. The reason why I liked it is because the Cadillac had a V6 engine that was really, it's really reliable. There are no major recalls on the 2021 Cadillac, and it had less than 45,000 miles. Still had the manufacturer's warranty. I mean, it was a good car, and it had a trailer hitch, had a V6 engine. So I knew I couldn't afford a truck, and after the whole debacle with the lifters on my truck, I'm really reluctant to ever buy a GMC truck ever again. So I show up, and I had even forwarded my newest pay stub, and I was like, "Hey, just making sure that we're good to go." Like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "Oh, with this new pay stub, you're golden. You're good. We're good to go." And even when I walked in, they had a board with like all of our VIP customers, and on there it had my name and then it had the Cadillac. So I was like, "Oh, sweet, okay, so this is gonna work." And I thought it was a little weird because I pulled up and and I even drove around the lot a couple times because parking was atrocious. They are overfilled. Like they're parking cars in the aisles, like in front of cars, blocking them in because they don't have enough room. So I thought it was weird that I didn't see the Cadillac. So then I show up and we're doing our thing. I sit there and wait for like 45 minutes, even though I had an appointment. I showed up early. I only showed up like 30 minutes early though, but then I was still waiting another half hour for the sales rep. Because he decided to take another customer on right before me. And so he gets my pay stub, he starts doing his thing, and then I'm waiting like an hour. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's taking so long? He's like, oh yeah, he's like, good news, like we got approval, blah, blah, blah. And at this point, he's not saying anything. Like, he's not telling me anything other than I'm approved. Okay, sweet. So I'm waiting for the Cadillac to pull up. And I see him, he's like, oh, I'll be right back. So he walks out, and a couple minutes later, he pulls up in a Jeep Gladiator. And if you don't know what it's like a cross between a Jeep Wrangler and a pickup truck. And this thing, this is like the same size as like a Colorado. It's a small truck. It's a small frame truck. I don't know if it's got a pickup bed, so I guess you could call it a truck. But within 2-3 feet of the interior, I could smell marijuana. Just reeked of marijuana. And the car had not been cleaned at all. There was crap everywhere. Like, nothing was wiped down, nothing was vacuumed, and just the most pungent smell of marijuana. I'm like, I didn't even get in. I was like, I don't want it. And he's like, what? I'm like, I'm not interested. He's like, well, why? I'm like, well, first of all, it smells like marijuana. He's like, well, we can shampoo that out. I was like, no, you can't. You're not going to shampoo it out now. Like, you would have to shampoo this thing like 4, 5, 6 times over the course of a week. Like, why do you guys have dirty cars that you're trying to sell? So I absolutely refuse to even test drive it. I refuse to even sit in it. So he's like, oh, okay. I'm like, and then I tell him, and I ask him, I'm like, hey, what's going on with the Cadillac? Like, you told me I was approved. He's like, well, the bank's having a little issue because of that week that I didn't get paid for from work. it lowered my gross monthly income to a level that the bank didn't find acceptable for that. This is what they're telling me, by the way. They didn't find acceptable for that car. I was like, well, okay, but I was like, that Jeep that you just showed me is only $3,000 less. He's like, yeah, but he's like, we don't go by, the bank doesn't go by the overall price. They go by the car, which I knew I was being fed a bunch of shit. And sorry for swearing, but it's so aggravating. So I'm like, wait, so they're like, they would rather sell you like a Chevy or like a Buick or a Volvo or a Jeep that's $5,000 to $10,000 more than on a luxury vehicle, because they believe the bank believes it's going to cost more to service. I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I was like, this thing's under warranty for over a year. I was like, I can get an extended warranty for $140 a month. After that, that covers all the major stuff, you know, powertrain, engine, computers, radio, brakes, struts. Only thing it doesn't cover is the catalytic converter and some of the minor stuff, and doesn't include maintenance. So I'm like, that makes no sense. So then they come back, and then I'm arguing with the finance manager because he's trying to tell me like why I can't get approved. And basically it came down to the bank doesn't want a guy with my current credit to own a Cadillac, even though I can afford it. Even though they know that I make really good money, I showed that I made really good money. They were like, the bank refused to accept that my gross monthly income, and so they knocked it down. What are they? $1,000 or $1,200 a month. They knocked down my gross to justify not approving the loan. So then they were like, I was like, this is so stupid. Like, you're basically telling me like the bank doesn't want a guy like me driving a nice car. And he got kind of quiet. He got kind of defensive, and I'm like, that's basically what you're telling me. So then we're going back and forth. And I'm getting angry because we're like 2.5 hours in, and they've only shown me one car. So then they were like, they're not going to approve you for the Cadillac. I was like, so they're like, was there anything else you like? I'm like, why don't you give me a list of cars that the bank will approve then? Because let's be honest, like I told you up front, my credit, I've been working my credit. And here's the other thing. So I pulled my credit, and I check my credit all the time, and I'm not checking like credit card. I do check credit card amount, but I check everything. I'm on Experian, at TransUnion. I see my FICO scores, so I know what my scores are. And they somehow had a score that was 90 points lower than what my actual score is. Both my FICO and my Vantage score. So I don't know where they got this score from, but they purposely gave me a low score to jack up my interest rate, to give me a shorter term loan, and then to increase my down payment. So here's the crazy part. So they asked for $4,500 down, and I had to borrow the money, most of the money from family. So I don't have that kind of money, and I need a car. So, by the way, we're not rolling my truck over. They want me to surrender my truck, because it's not, they're like, that would be too much negative equity. The bank doesn't want to approve that. So you're going to surrender the truck. We're just doing the vehicle. And so I'm thinking, okay, well then my payment should be like $300 a month. Like, I'm not asking for a $50,000 vehicle. That, once again, that Cadillac was right around $30,000, which is a lot of money. Okay. But it had less than 45,000 miles, full warranty, had everything that I wanted. Nice looking car too. That helps. So they were trying to get me into a Ford Explorer, and I'm like, I don't want a Ford Explorer. Like, they were trying to get me all these crap. They were like, we can get you in a 4-cylinder with no tow hitch. I'm like, I told you that's a go no go. Like, I need it. So finally, they get to the GMC Acadia, and it's fully loaded, but has 89,000 miles, no warranty. So then I'm like, okay, well then, And so we take it for a test drive. It's not terrible. It's a blackout edition, so it's a white car with black rims, black grille. It's kind of nice. Okay, I can. It's got a tow hitch. It's got a V6. Okay, it's ticking a lot of the boxes. Is it the Cadillac? No. Is it a good compromise? Could be. So while he was pulling the car, when he pulled the car up, I pulled up the car and I pulled up the price and it was like a $20,000 car. So I'm like, okay, so it's almost $11,000 cheaper than the Caddy. So you would think that my down payment would go down. No. They actually wanted more money. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. You were going to approve me for $4,500 for a Cadillac that was almost $31,000. And now for a $20,000 GMC, you want me to put an additional $500 down, and you're going to make the loan term shorter, increasing my payment. Make it make sense. And then I was like, why is this happening? They're like, well, because the car is a higher risk car because it's higher miles and it doesn't have a warranty. I'm like, but that's not my choice. I wanted the car with the warranty with the low miles. I'm like, so you're telling me the bank is basically screwing me over because they're forcing me to buy a higher mileage car with no warranty, and then as a result of that, I have to pay a higher down payment because it's a riskier car, and then you're giving me, and then you're using a score from God knows when you got it, which isn't my actual score, and now you're screwing me over. So then I finally get mad, and I'm about to leave. And the guy's like, I'll eat that $500. I was like, and you can just still do your same. So I know I got screwed over. My interest rate's god awful. I'm gonna try to get out of this car within a year. I was thinking about maybe keeping it longer, but the loan is atrocious, absolutely atrocious. I got hosed over so bad. So I used up all of my money, except for money that I have for food and gas for the next 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean, the car's not bad, but it's 89,000 mile car, and I put 25% down, essentially, on that car. And, you know, I want to be excited because I have a car. I can't say whether it's reliable yet or not because I've only had it a day. Not even a full day. I've had it for less than half it. I've had it for about 12 hours. I almost didn't get my permit. I ended up being at the dealership, so I got there at around 11. I didn't leave till almost 4. So I was there for almost 5 hours. Mind you, they had all my paperwork a week in advance. So, you know, I'll probably never buy a car from that dealership ever again. And I have to get out of this loan sooner than later, so I'm hoping the food truck makes money to help increase my income so that I can build up my credit. It's crazy because I just got an update on my credit this morning from Experian. It says I'm like 595, which is not. I don't want to, you know. I hate disclosing that, but like where I was after the end of COVID, after losing my business and almost losing everything. I mean, I have raised my credit a lot. So for those of you thinking about starting a business that maybe shouldn't be running a business, or you think it's easy, or there's no like negative, or like there's no repercussions to if it fails, you'll destroy your credit. And it's taken me 3 years, 2.5 years to bring it up to where it is, because the credit system's so rigged that you can only increase your score so much. You can drop it infinitely. You could drop it down to 0 overnight, and it'll take you up to 7 years to rebuild it back. It's a rigged system to keep people poor, and it sucks. So if you have good credit, keep it. Do everything you can. For those that are fair like me, keep working hard. I got to figure out how to come up with basically $1,500 for the food truck, and I'm behind on my bills now, because I've been forking over my money that I didn't have for this. So yeah, I'm in the pickle. So I don't know. Maybe I try to pick up some side jobs or something. I still got a fridge I got to sell. That I won at auction. I'm trying to sell some of the AirPods. I'm trying to sell my Pew Pew. I have a Pew Pew brand new that I bought like 2 months ago that I've never even fired. Extra magazines, holster, everything, and people want that thing for a steal. You know, nobody. It's a great deal. It's like $100 off a brand new gun and accessories, and people like want it for like nothing. So if I can sell that, I'd be better financially. But I still got to figure out how to come up with like $1,500 for the business, and probably another $1,500 for me personally. So sorry for the long video. I wish I was happier, but I'm still under a lot of stress. You know, this whole last couple weeks has really put me in a hole financially. You know, losing 2 weeks of income essentially from lies from my former employer, and then all the extra costs from the food truck that I wasn't planning on because of lies and deceit. So once again, if you want to help, I would always be willing to take it. Most people don't want to help, and that's fine. I get it. I'm a stranger. You don't know me. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Hopefully I have a better update for you guys next time. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you soon.